Hello and welcome back to Global Math Mentor. If you are preparing for the digital SAT, this is the video you can't afford to skip. Today, we'll be tackling the hardest quadratics, the ones designed to slow you down, trip you up, or make you doubt everything you know about parabolas and factoring. These aren't your average textbook problems. We'll be dealing with weird setups, tricky roots, hidden forms, and even Desmos powered shortcuts were allowed. So if you're aiming for the top score in math, grab your calculator, open up your Desmos, and let's break these down together step by step. No shortcuts left unexplained. Let's get started. Let's look at this problem one. Graphs of the function f and g are shown in the xy plane above. You can see there's a graph of y equals f of x and y equals g of x. For which of the following values of x does fx plus gx equal 0? So this is a quadratic function question. So by fx and gx, we mean that the y coordinates on these graphs, which two y coordinates will give you a sum of 0. So I can check different points, like there are some options given here as well. So if I look at -3, let's say, so -3 is 1, 2, and 3 here somewhere. On -3, both the x and the y coordinates are same. You can check that. So I can say that -3, -1 is a point common to both, to f of x and g of x as well. So if these are the 2 points common to both, if you add the y coordinates, they do not add up to 0. They add up to -2. So this is an incorrect option. I mean, when you are in practice, you can just do them mentally as well. But I'm just giving you like a detailed explanation how you can figure those values out, right? Okay, let's look at -2. So I know this is -2. Here's -2. This point on g of x is -2 and 2. And the point on f of x is -2 and a -2. Well, I think I've got my answer. So the point is -2 and 2 on f on g -2 -2 on f of x and -2 and +2 on g of x. If you add these y values, you'll see that they will add up to 0. So -2 is the correct answer. So I'm just going to show you quickly why -1 doesn't work as well. So listen carefully. -1 gives you again the same point on both. So there is like a point -1, -1. This belongs to both of the fx and g of x, -1 and -1. So you can see that these two y coordinates will have a sum. And similarly, 0. Why 0 doesn't work? On 0, the graph of f of x gives the y coordinate of 2. And the graph of g of x gives the y coordinate of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 0 and -9. Clearly, I know that 2 and add a -9, that's a -7. So they were actually asking which two y coordinates on the point will give you a sum of 0. So -2 is the correct answer. I hope you get this. You can always rewind and check back what exactly was going on in this problem. Let's look at another problem. The graph of the function f in the xy plane above is a parabola. So this is a name, parabola, for the quadratic curve. Which of the following defines f? You can see this graph shown, and there are 3 points on it. There are points 2, 5, 4, 5. And this one is a special point. It's the vertex. We call it vertex. You can also call it the min point, minimum point, or you can say it's the stationary point. So I'm just showing some names for this point. So if you look at the options, each of the options is given in a special kind of a form, which is known as the vertex form. So I hope you're familiar with the vertex form ax plus b squared plus c. This form is sometimes called the vertex form, and in some courses we call it the completing the square form. So what are the key features of this form? So grab on your notebooks and make sure you take notes on this. So if a is greater than 0, your parabola looks like this. If a is less than 0, your parabola looks like this. By less than 0, I mean that It's negative if A is negative. So, well, I can see none of these coefficients are negative. They are all positive. So that's why we can see that the parabola is upward opening with a minimum turning point, right? Okay, so the next point, the key feature is very important. Why do you call it the vertex form? This gives you the vertex just by looking at it. At a glance, you can observe the vertex, the coordinates of the turning point. So learn it this way. You see this expression inside the whole square. So if you try to find the root of this expression, the value of x is going to be minus b. So remember that if it's x plus b, it's a minus b, the x coordinate of the vertex. And this value over here, remember this, whatever the value is, this is some constant, is going to be the y coordinate of the vertex. So what will be the vertex for this graph? Minus b and c is going to be the vertex. Okay? So you can pause the video and just take notes on this, and then I'll go and explain you how to get this question correct. Okay, so I'm gonna erase this. I hope you have taken notes on these. So this video is not like a very quick one. I'm trying to teach you like a lesson, how to, understand it fully. And then once you are on the test, you can answer it like quickly. Okay, so I know there is a vertex given. So let's just write it like A. I don't know what's A. So A x minus 3 whole squared and plus 1. And I'm going to put a y over here. So if I can get the value of a, I'll get my answer. So let's ballpark the incorrect options. So I know that b is incorrect, d is incorrect. It's one of a and c. Okay, so to get a, I can substitute any of the given points. I can see either 2, 5, 4, 5. So some of you can maybe try 2, 5, or some of you can maybe try 4, 5. Pause it and go ahead, get the value of a. Okay, let's solve it. So I'm going to be using 2, 5, let's say. 5, y is 5, and the x coordinate is 2. 2 minus 3 whole squared plus 1. So 5 equals to a times a negative 1 squared plus 1. 5 equals to a plus 1. So a is a 4. So this value over here is a 4. So this means that a is the correct answer. Let's take a look at another problem. So we can see a quadratic equation. In the given equation, b is a positive integer. The equation has no real solution. What is the greatest possible value of b? To answer questions like these, you need to understand the concept of discriminant b squared minus 4ac. If you are new to this, I'll share a link in the description. There's a whole video where I have explained everything you need to know about discriminants. What does a discriminant do? It gives you nature of the roots of a quadratic equation, and a quadratic equation's roots has three possible natures. So you can either have two different, like a distinct roots, or you can have two equal roots, or you can have imaginary roots. So anyway, like the question can be asked in three possible ways. Like they are saying no real solution. For no real solution, your b squared minus 4ac value is always less than 0. For equal roots, b squared minus 4ac will be equal to 0. And for distinct roots, b squared minus 4ac will be greater than 0. So take notes on that and take out some time to watch the other video that I'm mentioning. It's all about discriminant and how the discriminant helps us find the nature of roots of a quadratic equation. So I'm going to use this concept now. Let me just erase this one. Okay. So how do we answer this question? Let's do b squared, which is like a b here as well, but I'm just using the idea b squared minus 4ac minus 4. What's the value of a? Minus 1. And what's the value of c? It's a negative 676. So a, since it is minus 1, b is just b, and c is a negative 676. So let's calculate this value. And this is less than 0, by the way, because there are no real solutions. So b squared Three negatives. This will become, let's take out the calculator. So it will be 4 times 676, which is 2704. 2704 and less than zero. Now, this is another broader concept in quadratics. How do you solve quadratic inequalities? But the good thing about Desmos is you can use Desmos to solve quadratic inequalities. Let me show you how. So put x squared minus 2704 and put it less than zero. So you'll see this region over here, which is like the desired region. So you can see the x values, or like in this case. So my solution is like it's less than 54. Is it 54? Oh, my bad. That's 52. Okay, it's less than 52 or it's greater than minus 52. Now they want us to find the greatest value. Which inequality do you think so will give you the greatest value? This one will give you the least possibility. This will give you the greatest possibility. So if this is the solution set, like below 52 and above minus 52. So what's the maximum value come across if you go down from 52? So 51 is like the largest possible value of B. I hope you understand this problem. All right, another problem. In the xy plane, the graph of the equation y equals to minus x squared plus 9x minus 100. This is a quadratic expression. It's a parabola and intersects the line y equals c at exactly 1 point. So when a line intersects a curve at exactly 1 point, you can say that this line will be tangent to this curve. So this is an upside down parabola. It should look like this. And this is another essential feature you should be familiar with. Y equals to any constant is like C or A or 2 or 5, any number is a horizontal line. So how can a horizontal line be tangent? It can only be tangent if it touches the maximum point of this curve. So if these things were a bit difficult to absorb, you can just rewind it and listen to it again, right? Okay, so let's answer this using the graphing calculator. So I'm gonna sketch this parabola quickly. Minus x squared plus 9x minus a 100. Okay, you can see this is the parabola. So this is the maximum point. Well, this can actually give you the exact value. You can check because look, this is actually the answer. Y equals, what was the value? Let me just write it again. Minus 79.75. So this is minus 79.75. So this is the answer because this, you can see this line touches the curve at exactly 1 point. So I know that this is not the answer D. Minus 100 is not the answer. It must be one of the given ones. So let me just check the A one. Minus 481 divided by 4. Oh, that's not the answer. So let's check a negative 319 divided by 4. Yes, that is the correct answer. So C is the correct answer. The reason I shared this as a harder quadratic question, what I have noticed, the students who have studied like slightly higher pure mathematics, they substitute this C equals to negative x squared plus 9x minus 100. Then they standardize this equation. Then they go for the discriminant and then they put it equal to 0. So that's like a very lengthy approach of answering this question. So I don't want you to answer this question like this on the digital SAT. Just use Desmos for these questions and this will be way easier to answer. Let's take a look at this problem. In the xy plane, a parabola has the vertex 9 minus 14. The vertex is either the max point or the min point and intersects the x-axis at 2 points. So let's take a look like how this graph looks like. It must be like this because its vertex is below the x-axis and it intersects the x-axis at 2 points. So this is the possible shape of this parabola. It has a minimum turning point and is upward open. If the equation of the parabola is written in the form this, which is the standard form, where a, b, and c are constants, which of the following could be the value of a plus b plus c? As I was saying earlier, these are not your usual high school quadratic questions. These are designed in a trickier way to test your limits. So how do you find the sum of these coefficients of the quadratic expression? Well, the only information I'm given is the vertex. So let's use it and see what do we get. So I'm going to write the vertex form, which is a times x minus 9 whole squared and minus 14. Well, if you're familiar with the vertex form, you'll understand why I wrote it like this. So expand this double bracket. The only thing I can think of right now is the expansion. Expand the double bracket, or you can quickly write it like x squared minus 18x plus 81 and minus 14. So let's simplify this. And you can imagine, like in questions like these, even Desmos doesn't help much. So, okay, so now I've got my A, which is just A, and B is the coefficient of X, which is minus 18A, and C is the constant term, which is 81A minus 14. If I add them together, this will be 82 and minus 18. So that's a 64 and minus 64a and minus 14. So they are saying which one of these options is the possible sum. I know already for a parabola like this, a is greater than 0. So you need to check which of the options is the correct one. So I'm going to put each time my sum equal to, okay, now I can use my calculator. So let's put 64x minus 14 equals to minus 23. And what's the solution? Oh, it's a negative value. So A should not be negative. Okay. So A is incorrect. If I put it minus 19, you can check the solution. It's still a negative number. So if I put it equal to minus 14, this will be a 0.43. Oh, I wrote a double. I don't know why. Okay. Oh, that's just a zero. That's incorrect as well. So by ballparking these incorrect options, you can see that D should be the correct answer. But let me show you why. If you put it equal to 12, so now it's a positive number. You can see it's a positive number. So this is the possible sum of a plus b plus c, because by putting it equal to the expression 64a minus 14, you're getting a positive value for a, which is the situation in this case. All right. Here is another tricky problem. Let's take a look at this one. The expression 4x squared plus bx minus 45, where b is a constant, can be rewritten as this thing, which is a factorized form, where h, k, and j are integer constants. Which of the following must be true? Oh, well, looking at the option, I can't really say anything about anything. So let's see and look at the information. So the is rewritten as hx plus k and times x plus j. So have you noticed h will be 4? The reason is when you multiply hx with x, this will be hx squared, and that is equal to 4x squared plus bx minus 45. So I can say that h is 4. So let's just write a 4 over here. And now I'm going to expand it and see what's the connection between the coefficients. 4x squared plus 4jx plus kx and plus kj. Another step which is nice, if you can write it like this, 4j plus k, and factor out the x and plus kj. Please do pause it if you find anything tricky. So just observe it once again and see what am I doing. So I can see that the coefficient of x squared is 4, and the coefficient of x is b, and which is this. And the constant term is this thing. Okay, I'm just using different marks to show you that. So I can say that b is 4j plus k. That is one thing. And kj is a negative 45. So this is the only information I have right now. Let's try and take a look at this A option. So I'm going to be studying each option independently. So let's take a look at A. So B is a 4j plus k, and divide that by h, and h I know is 4. It is written that h, k, j are integer constants, so there must be some integers, j and k, but there is no guarantee that 4 times some integer plus another integer divided by 4 is definitely an integer. So they're saying, look at the wording of the question, which of the following must be an integer. Well, I can give you like a counter example for this. Let's take j to be 2 and k to be 3. So let's see what happens. 4 2 times 8 plus 3 divide 4, which is 11 divide 4, which is not an integer. You get it? So A cannot be true. Okay, let's try and decode B. So remember, students, for these harder questions, you might be thinking like, how can we answer this quickly? Well, some of the questions are really, really harder in the end. Like these questions are somewhere in the end of the your test. So not every question is as harder as this one. So there are easier questions where you will save time, and you'll save that time and keep it for like the really, really harder questions in the end. Okay, so what is B divide K? I do not have K right now, but I know that B is a 4j plus K. Okay, let's get K. K is some integer, and this will be minus 45 divide J. Okay, so if I put a minus 45 divide j, well, students, you can see that clearly if I suppose some integers j and k, there's no guarantee that this thing is always going to be an integer. So this is an incorrect option as well. You can try some putting some integers over here, suppose some, and you'll find out like this will be a miracle if you get like an integer. So okay, let's try and study this C part. 45 divide H. Oh, 45 divide 4 since H is 4. Well, guys, this is not an integer. Clearly, this is incorrect as well. So by ballparking, I know that D is the correct answer, but let's go and try to understand why this D will be the correct answer. So I've got this K over here. I've just made the value of K in terms of J. So can I write 45 divide k as 45 divide k? Let me just show you what I'm trying to do. 45 divided by minus 45 over j. So this will be 45 into a j divide a minus 45. If you cancel this, this will turn out to be minus j. Well, what do you think so? If j is an integer, then negative j will definitely be an integer. So D is the correct answer. Oh boy. And here is another challenging SAT problem. Let's take a look at this one. A car is traveling at x feet per second. The driver sees a red light ahead, and after 1.5 seconds reaction time, the driver applies the brake. So 1.5 second reaction time, he applies the brake. After the brake is applied, the car takes this x over 24 seconds to stop, during which time the average speed of the car is x over 2 feet per second. If the car travels 165 feet from the time the driver saw the red light to the time it comes to complete stop, which of the following equations can be used to find the value of x? So this is a problem solving question. So there are two parts of the journey. I'm going to design it this way. So there is a light here somewhere and the car is traveling. So understand that this x feet per second is speed, and the time it takes to apply the brake is 1.5 seconds. So during this time, the distance he travels, the car travels, is 1.5x. Okay, so remember this triangle if these are harder for you to remember. Put a D here for distance, V for speed, and T for time. So put your finger on whatever you are looking for. Like, for example, I'll show you with the razor. If you put it on D, you get VT, which is a speed multiplied by time. If you put it on V, it's D over T, which is distance divide time. If you put it on T, so time is distance over speed. So you can learn this DVT triangle. So I multiplied the speed and the time to get the distance. This is, let's call the distance 1. And after the brake is applied, they have given the speed and the time, which is x over 24 seconds is the time to stop. And during this time, the speed was x over 2 feet per second. So let's get the distance 2 expression, which is x squared over 48. So you see, again, I multiplied the time and the speed to get the distance. I know from my statement that d1 plus d2 is going to be 165, since the total distance from the time it applied the brake, the reaction time, and all, it's 165. So this is going to be 1.5x plus x squared over 48 and equals to 165. Okay, so let's see which one is the correct one. I can see that in all of the options in the answer space, x square has a no coefficient. So the best thing I can do right now is just multiply this whole equation with a 48. So what will be 1.5 times 48? That's going to be 72x plus x squared equals to, let's get 165. 165 times 48, which is 7920. 7920. Well, I think we've got the answer, x squared plus 72x and minus 7920. So I've got my equation. So which one do you think is the correct answer? D is the correct answer. So you see, by decoding the statement, I just formed a distance, time, and speed scenario, made a quadratic equation, tried to rearrange it to look like the answer, and that's the correct answer. And that's it. You made it through some of the toughest quadratics questions the SAT can throw at you. If you stuck with me till the end, give yourself some credit, guys. Most students avoid these questions, but you face them head on. Remember, it's not just about getting the right answer, it's about training your brain to think clearly under pressure. Every question you practice like this makes you sharper and faster on test day. If this helped you, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more high level SAT math practice, and let me know in the comments which topic you want me to cover next. Keep pushing forward. This is Global Math Mentor. I'll see you in the next video. Over and out.